So here I am again, going through another article, and I like to go through these articles because that's when you see the dishonesty in the article. This article is by Brittany Bailey, and it says what it would take for Ray Fisher to play Cyborg. I'm not going to go through the entire article because I believe that much of this we already saw on Justice Con. So I'm not going to waste my time going through all of this. But in essence, the article asked the question, what would it take for Ray Fisher to play Cyborg in the Flash movie? Okay. And she discussed, the issues with Warner Brothers, and obviously Ray Fisher in the Justice Con, when it was asked that question, he's just showing people how much more credibility he had. Okay. As you hear more behind the scenes from people for instance, Aaron Michael, who came out and spoke about how Warner Brothers kind of dealt with him with the script doing, and this is another black actor. We know that Wayne T. Carr, now it's confirmed, and Zack Snyder said it in Justice Con, but we kind of knew that already, that Wayne T. Carr was the Green Lantern that was supposed to play. That's another black actor, which was excised from the movie. And so when you look at just the optics of the situation, you already know that Ray Fisher has a lot. And he talks about racism on the set, and the investigators saying that we don't see any signs of racism. Yet you've excised all the Asian actors, all the Latino actors, all the black actors have been excised from the film and replaced with white actors. So we already know Ray Fisher had a case there already. And I remember talking with the Truth 31, and he was saying, we already know what this is, right? So we already knew it was racism on the Warner Brothers set. And the fact that John Berg actually apologized to Ray about white men making decisions for a black actor, I think says it all. Okay? But even so, what does Ray Fisher ask of Warner Brothers? And in this article, which we already know what he said, but anyway, in this article, it goes on in this long meander, okay, this article is making, it goes on to say this, and I want to quote her precisely. And basically, this article is to try and indoctrinate the unindoctrinated. What I mean by that is, what this writer is trying to do, and this is called the power of the pen, is this writer is trying to basically, people who don't know the situation, catch them up on the situation. But once again, anyway, so it all started last summer when Fisher announced on Twitter that Whedon had been abusive on this Justice League set. Okay. He also mentioned former President Jeff Johns and producer John Berg. He also mentioned Toby Emmerich. They didn't mention that one. As problematic constituents akin to Whedon. Eventually, he even included DC Films president Walter Hamada in these accusations. Walter Hamada, of course, was trying to protect Jeff Johns. Ray said it, called it exactly how it was. Warner Brothers has denied such accusations. He went on, as we know, to speak about the blatantly racist conversations that led to an investigation. And we all know the investigator came to the conclusion that there was no racism there. Yet, Jason Keeler had to come out and speak out against racism in the workplace. Okay? But we continue. I digress. Okay. Fisher was asked, I'm reading from Justice Con. Fisher was asked, what exactly would it take for him to play the cyborg character again? As it turns out, he still wants accountability from the studio, stating the following. I think where we start is an acknowledgement and an apology for what is clearly publicly known to be an issue. I think that's where the accountability begins. And let me make it abundantly clear. Warner Brothers needs to publicly apologize through their execs. Well, I believe Walter Hamada should do it on behalf of DC Films. I believe Toby Emmerich should put out a statement on behalf of Warner Brothers Pictures. Okay? An apology to the actors and actresses, not Ray, because Ray is representing a wide ambit of actors and actresses who were axed or mistreated on the set of Justice League by Joss Whedon and his enablers. Okay? And Warner Brothers, if they want to put this thing in the past, they need to put out a public statement. Jason Keeler put out something, but they need to do that. The moment you own your situation, that you could be wrong about a situation, is the moment we can begin with transparency. Okay? And I believe if they put out a statement of apology, and I'm not saying that, I'm not ruling it out. I can see, let me explain to you why that is a possibility. Okay? I'm going to explain to you why that's a possibility. I'm also going to explain to you why Ray Fisher still has a certain degree of bargaining power. Okay? I'm going to explain to you. Because this story is not going to end, and bad PR is just not good for Warner Brothers. Okay? They have a whole PR. See, you got to understand, what a studio does, what movie making and entertainment is about, is excitement and getting people to want to go see your content. Bad PR does not help that. So this is where Ray Fisher is a problem. Not just Ray Fisher, but a number of people are coming out now and speaking very negative things about how the studio conducted its affairs and mismanaged its affairs. So it's very, very difficult for the studio now to say, oh, we want to. And the Flash movie is like right now, I mean, because they removed Ray Fisher from the Flash movie, because the actor who was supposed to play Ray Fisher's father has been replaced, that puts the movie in such a perilous position. And, I feel for the director of that movie, because he's in a position where a lot of things are in flux. A lot of things are not settled. A lot of things need to be negotiated. And they're supposed to shoot. They should have started shooting already. What I mean to say is, Warner Brothers is counting on Ray to sort of back off and take whatever he's given. And they're trying to give him humble pie, but they realize the fans are on his side. See, what you guys got to understand is, and this is where your role is in this whole equation, because it is a mathematical equation, is this: when somebody has the fans behind them, okay, now they have leverage and power. And Ray understands this. That comedian, I forgot his name, Dave Chappelle understands this. Zack Snyder understands this. You think that Justice Khan is just Justice Khan? No, it's a tool. It's a leverage chip. Okay? If Zack Snyder wants to go indie tomorrow, he could do it. He has a fan base that will follow him wherever he goes. Army of the Dead, whatever. He's a brand, okay? Ray Fisher, no matter what project Ray Fisher does, there's going to be a fan base that's going to follow him. So if they think this is just a novice, and this is just, no, not at all. And by Ray coming up on Justice Con, by Ray doing all these interviews with all of these outlets, both in Hollywood and outside of Hollywood, and with all these little independent little, reasonably organized segments, and having the Snyder Cut community behind him, and now even more so as more information comes out, just like with the Snyder Cut. People first doubted the Snyder Cut, including myself, and saw it as, a perturbation. And as more and more information, both from Warner Bros. And from Zack Snyder himself, and from people surrounding the movie started to come out, we realized Zack Snyder was telling the truth. And this is the same thing for Ray Fisher. This is the same thing. Now you're seeing people coming out of the woodworks for Aaron Michaels. Everybody's doubting Aaron Michaels. Oh, why are you talking about that now? Oh, there's a reason why he's talking about that right now. Okay? He's trying to show you what was to be and what can still be. And he's also talking about, because he's advertising himself for New Gods, if you haven't realized, because they scrapped New Gods. That's why he's talking, okay? He wouldn't be talking if Ava DuVernay was still on the project for New Gods. which means he's not just coming out of the woodworks for no reason. You guys got to understand this is something that is obviously it's in flux, and it's there are negotiations going on in the background fiercely. But the point is, you as fans with that hashtag restore the Snyderverse, and you know who was the first guys to heads this up? It was called Release the Snyder Cut. Okay, Release the Snyder Cut movement with the For the Snyder Cut movement was kind of attached to Leona Zhang, but no one person's really the leader of the movement. But nonetheless, this little group of people, they started saying, well, after you get the Snyder Cut, because you remember I did a video saying that the Snyder Cut, right, is really, right, it's really Release the Snyder Cut, you know, is more than a movie, right? It's more than a movie. It's really to release the Snyderverse, right? A stream of movies, including Zack Snyder's movies, but also the peripheral movies around that, like, for example, which is a no-brainer, the Air Cut, okay? The Air Cut is in the Snyderverse. The Air Cut is not. The Air Cut is not in this new universe, James Gunn's universe. That's separate to the. Even though they have the same actors in James Gunn's universe, it's not the same environment. It's not the same. If you just look at the environment, it's totally different environment. Same characters, some of the same actors, different environment. Okay, so when we talk about the Snyderverse, we're talking about an environment, a realm. You can take the same characters and put them in a different realm. Take, for instance, Wonder Woman 84 was in a different realm. I would call that realm the Richard Donner realm. Okay? So we kind of took her out. Now, Themyscira was Themyscira, but the world was a different realm. And if you look at, for example, the Harley Quinn movie, I mean, it wasn't the Suicide Squad realm. It wasn't David Ayer's realm. It was the director who was directing this realm with studio interference, I believe. Aquaman wasn't exactly the same realm as the Snyderverse realm, even though it took parts of the story from the Snyderverse. Of course, James Wan really wanted to do something different, and Jeff Johns decided he wanted it to go in a different direction, and they worked together and saved the movie. But the movie was not supposed to be the movie that we saw exactly, and I think Chris Wong Swanson in Ping Pong Flicks talks about that. Anyway, I'm going on a little too long, but I wanted to add all this meat to the bones. Okay, I wanted to take time with this video to go through these things. So obviously, Ray Fisher's comments and statements, it's shaking up Hollywood right now. It's a shakeup. Okay, it's a big shakeup because for once, Hollywood, it was always people could do whatever they want once they attained a certain status, and you just got to live with it and rock with it. And people, it was considered a code to keep quiet about how you were treated in there. And Ray Fisher just knocked those walls down and said, no. If you're being treated properly, there's no reason to keep a secret. Okay? Yeah, you got NDAs and all of that so that the movie that you're producing isn't leaked. But it wasn't meant for you to have cover to mistreat people. And if, for example, your mistreatment of people is not a deliberate thing, it's to further the movie, that's a totally different thing. Like David Ayer, you carried some of the actors through extreme training and some very questionable things were done and so on. That's different. We're talking about like where you're abusing the workers and there's no reason to do so. Okay? So yes, Ray Fisher asking for an apology is a reasonable, rational thing, which, by the way, shows a change of heart by the studio. Now, let me just go through some other leverage things that Ray Fisher has, and he does. His performance as Cyborg, the heart of Justice League, was universally received as terrific. There are the few exceptions of people who think it differently, but mostly everyone says he made that movie. And that's people in the industry, which means he's a quality actor. Now, what happened to the black comedian lady where she's been ostracized and excised from Hollywood is because she spoke out against Oprah Winfrey and some other big heads in the black community. and so they can't throw their weight behind her. And she's kind of on her own. She's not even getting Netflix pieces because she's not getting the worth that she wants, and so on. I'm talking about the comedian lady. I forgot what her name is, but we're paying attention to you, sister. We have not forgotten you, okay? You're not forgot your name. But we as fans need to rally behind her. I forgot what her name is, but she's going to come up. She was in all these big television shows. She won an Oscar for performance. If you win an Oscar for performance, you should be able to call what you think you are worth, and they should be able to pay you for that, okay? She was in Monique. I forgot what her name is, though. Anyways, keeping it moving. And as several actors have been blacklisted and blackballed, Gina Carano should not be blacklisted or blackballed. I don't care what nobody says. She shouldn't be blacklisted for The Mandalorian. I stand up with her as well. So I wanted you guys to understand something. In Hollywood, they play a lot of politics. They play a lot of games, okay? Nobody's saying you can't play your games of negotiation for a film or whatever. But there's a couple things I find very wrong about Hollywood and their games that they play, and they make it into more of a game and how good you can look, and appear. And I've seen it in every single aspect, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in studies, in universities, or whatever. It's the same old, where people like to play games, and I'm not into playing games. I'm way too old for that shit, okay? Life is too short. People can be so productive in your lifetime. You only got to get to do like 2, 3, 4, 5 excellent things in your whole entire life, if you're so lucky. All right, because it takes a lot of time, it consumes a lot of effort, it consumes energy. So why is it we don't have more excellent things in the world? Because of assholes who like to play politics and like to fuck up things, because all they care about is their aspiration. And I'm sorry about the F-bombs and how I'm going a little harsh and crude. That's something that happened this morning that got me a little bit edgy. So you got to excuse me a little bit. But it's because of those people who put wrenches in, and they want the status quo to stay the way it is, even though the status quo is flawed. Okay? And so very few people reach their full potential that they're supposed to reach in whatever area they're in. Because most people are naive like myself, and we strive for excellence. We try to be the best that we can possibly be. And it's not because of fucking competition. Who gives a fuck about that? It's about giving something back. And when you deny somebody the right or the opportunity to give something back that's really meaningful and worthwhile to other people so that they can be inspired to give something back even bigger, that's what excellence really is in my book. Okay? There's no competition in excellence. Every individual is unique. This is what the Justice League showed us. Look at the excellence of Cyborg. Look at the excellence of Flash. In fact, Flash's excellence is so excellent that the only people who see his excellence at that point in time are us. We're not in his work. We're not in his realm. We're not in his universe. The people in his universe never saw it. I want you to understand something. Excellence is not about getting credit for excellence. Excellence is excellence. It's in its own category. And you know it when you see it. And I'm tired. Honestly, I am tired of the bullshit that people do so that other people cannot be excellent. That's the truth. Okay? The lady who played Monique, I can't remember her name. She's a black actor. I don't give a flying hell if you're black, white, Asian, whatever you want to call yourself, whatever color you want to call yourself, okay? I couldn't care less. When you do something excellent, that's what matters. We see it, we know it. And some of us will react in the negative, and some of us will react in the positive. And for me, excellence inspires me. Yes, I have the other feelings of jealousy and wish it was me and all that bullshit. I don't care about that. Because at the end of the day, to move forward, you don't take a sword to cut somebody's leg off. You're not going to go anywhere. You have to step. And any kind of fuel to get you to step is what counts. Anyways, man, excuse my little rant here. cancel culture is a term used by Trumpians. And it's a term I'm about to use, even though I'm not a Trumpian. When you try to mute and censor people based on the fact that they're telling the truth, based on the fact that you don't want information to come out that's true, or based on the fact that they're kind of contrarian. What I mean by that is they come from a different angle, but they're not doing anything necessarily negative. But they're showing you, they're exposing you and saying, look, you're judging, you're prejudging a situation, you're prejudging somebody. That's what Gina Carano did. That's all she did. She showed you an optic. You assumed this is what she was saying, and then she comes back and clarifies. Now, whether or not she has a seditious intent behind that or not will be revealed in time. But the point is, what she said, all the things she has said, there is absolute, you cannot say that she's wrong for saying those things. You can't. And to cut her from a program for saying that she feels that Republicans are being treated like Jews these days is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Because if you can go that far to that length, it means when somebody else says something else, which is true, but a group or a mob of people don't like what was being said, and they say, go for this person's head, get rid of them. You don't stand on principle? You just cut them? No. Same thing with James Gunn. They tried to kick out James Gunn for something he did in the past, way back in the past, and even so, they misunderstood some of the stuff he was doing. You can't do that. And that's wrong. Similarly, Ray Fisher has issues with the company based on something they've done, which is wrong. We know this. No matter what the investigator says, they've done a lot of wrong things, and one of those things was racial profiling. All Ray's asking for is an apology. He's not suing. He's not coming out there and putting all that dirty linen in the open. He's put some because he has to show that his claims are credible. Okay? So I'm just saying, we can't have a Hollywood or a entertainment system which is toxic. And they always try in sly and subtle ways to bring their toxicity forward. I'll show you what I mean. So, all Ray asks for is apology. Now listen to this. She goes on to talk about this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to cite one more part of this article, and I'm done. Both parties are eager, I'm reading at the top here. Both parties are eager to move on, but according to Fisher, that cannot be done until Warner Brothers publicly apologizes. Listen to what this writer says. This is not likely to happen since Fisher is still largely an unknown name. So I guess you can't apologize to an unknown name. That's what they're saying. And how is he an unknown name? Everybody in the Snyder Cut knows who Ray Fisher is. Everybody who has just watched Justice League, the Snyder Cut, knows who Ray Fisher is. Okay? There are people publicly congratulating Ray Fisher from all over. So he's no longer an unknown name. He was an unknown name. He didn't have a lot of Hollywood experience and a lot of filmography behind him. But let's not be stupid here. He is now known. That's one. Two, why is it that it is beneath a studio to apologize to someone who's unknown? This is not something that has not been done before. So why is that a problem? Oh, because Ray Fisher, he doesn't really know the system and how Hollywood actually works. Listen, ain't nobody want to know a system where people are being exploited like that. Ain't nobody want to know that system. Everybody should get a fair shake. It should be a workplace where it's fairness, and wherever equity can come. And if somebody was willing to sacrifice a lot to get that equity, then so be it. And people are coming forward now and speaking about it along those lines. It's about time. It's about time. I remember when Colin Kaepernick took the knee, and he's still being ostracized to this day. A lot of teams don't want to give him back any work in football, and he's cool with that. And he's coming out on his terms. He's not going to play the ball like how they want to play ball. You know why? It's because they removed him for something they did the wrong. They removed him for something that was not wrong. They broke contract with him. So if he decides he wants to change the terms, he should be able to do it because they owe him an apology. They owe him to fulfill the contract that they broke with him. If you think about it. Okay? For kneeling, for the national anthem, you get cut from football and ostracized because some so-called president of the United States said, man, get his ass off the field. Don't let me curse again because I'm going to curse. Get the hell out of here with that shit. So we've seen time and time again racism, blatant racism on display. How long do people have to deal with this? Like my sister on the Truth 31's channel said, ain't nobody care about token service and making up the numbers. Oh, we got a black director now directing a movie. Don't give a damn. What did he do to the last black actor? Were you trying to make quotas? You trying to make numbers? No, it's not about lip service. It's about showing us that you truly appreciate. Don't tell me you appreciate. Show me you appreciate. Warner Brothers. So I disagree with what she's saying here. Fisher is still largely an unknown name. That don't mean nothing. It would be pretty historical if a major Hollywood studio bowed to the demands of a novice by airing their own wrongdoings in the process. You see what she's saying? There's such a hypocrisy behind that, and a haughtiness and an elitism behind that. Why can't a studio apologize for being wrong? Why? Why is that a wrong thing to do? Why can't it do that? If you were wrong, you were wrong. I was wrong about the theatrical cut being the Snyder cut, and I just said that. Well, you're a nobody. Yeah, but when I'm a somebody, I'm going to do the same thing. What does the studio have to lose by apologizing? Well, it definitely says it's in the wrong, and that's a bad image for it. No, it's not. By it saying it's in the wrong, it actually repairs the breach with Snyder Cut fans. It repairs the breach with the fandom. It repairs the breach. Right now, everybody's looking at Warner Bros. Like, y'all are big, fat, stupid losers and morons. Some people say, fuck Warner Bros. I'm going to use the F-bomb there. Some people don't even care. Some people want to leave Warner Bros. Some people want to leave HBO Max. Some people just want to go to Netflix, where it seems to be fair. Dave Chappelle has spoken about Warner Bros. About the crap, the cesspool. Like, you know how Aquaman says, oh, that shit old. For Gotham? Well, that's the same thing people are thinking about Warner Bros. Right now. Their stuff it's not very high in people's eyes. And some people say, well, I'm going to watch every single Warner Bros. Movie. Go ahead, be my guest. Go ahead, buddy. You go out there and watch every single Warner Bros. DC movie. Nobody's telling you not to do that. But there's some of us, there's a salty taste in our mouths. There's a sharp cut in our skin. And we look at Warner Brothers with a very, 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 very bitter eye. Because it's not like they repented from what they're doing. They're still doing what they're doing. They're proceeding like businesses as usual, as if they did nothing wrong. How can you support a studio that you know is doing the wrong thing and doing wrong things to people as we speak? They're continuing to do the same wrong things they've been doing all along. It's very hard. So let's continue. If Fisher's claims are true, then someone should be held accountable. Duh. But with the investigation over, and it's not if his claims are true, but with the investigation over, finding Warner Brothers to be innocent, nothing's going to be happening for a while. Says who? You? You're the Lord of everything? Oh, trust me. Y'all can't predict shit. Okay? Y'all can't predict shit. So just shut up. And let's see how it plays out. You could tell this is a studio encouraged article that's put out. Somebody who sides with the studio because they get scoops from them. And that's why I said these articles are disingenuous. And I decided to pick out this one because this one's pretty recent and show you how these people will pen these things in the trades, how they think it should go. If Cyborg were to appear in The Flash, then perhaps the SnyderVerse could live on in some way. So this person goes on to say another very disingenuous, very erroneous statement. We all know, I told you guys, the SnyderVerse will continue. And we know that will happen on HBO Max. Okay? Maybe it'll have theatrical, HBO Max will either promote it in theaters, or maybe Warner Brothers Pictures will promote those stuff into theaters. What we do know is Zack Snyder came out and said on July the 19th, I believe it is, the Snyder Cut will be in certain select theaters. One in New York, one in LA, and another in another place. I can't remember where exactly. You guys can refresh my memory. But the point is that the Snyder Cut is going to be around, and it seems as though by the end of the year, it's going to be out in theaters. And I like to see how those little runs, those charity event runs happen. And if you guys drum up enough demand, listen to me. See, it's all about you guys. And it doesn't have to be a censure culture, okay? It doesn't have to be that kind of culture. We don't have to say we're not supporting any DC movie till this thing. That's bullshit. That I don't agree with. I agree that putting the hashtag restore the Snyderverse everywhere you want to put it to let people know every turn that this is what you want is not a bad thing, barring, certain events like, some very important social event, whether it's suicide prevention or it's, some sort of social issue, okay? But if it's entertainment, it's all up for grabs. You can go anywhere you want. And people say you're spamming, but listen, it's to keep it in the public's eye. And people are going to ask when they're seeing it all over the place, wherever Warner Bros. Puts something up, whether it's a video or what, they see Restore the Snyderverse there, it keeps it in the public eye. So I love the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse. Please go ahead and hash down the place as much as you want. They may ban your account for spamming, but do it, okay? The reason being because that keeps people knowing this is what we want. All right, so it's a very important tool in social media. And don't restrict it to Twitter. Go everywhere. Put the hashtag. I love hashtags. I really do. They're really a great tool. Because people can just click on the hashtag and they can find out what the hashtag is about. Right? So that's what your goal, your job as fans is just simply to ask for what you want. As a fan, just keep on asking for what you want. beat down the doors of hell asking for what you want. Now, listen to me carefully, because some of you are going to take it the wrong way. Asking for what you want is not a bad thing. Once you're not trying to be violent, once you're not being toxic, meaning you're not saying negative things about other people when you put the hashtag. You can reason, you can argue with them, you can say you're not being reasonable. That's all good. And there's some of you guys who are just great at arguing online. You love to argue. I myself get myself in arguments and I argue points. But please do not label people. Don't say you're stupid. You can say a point is stupid, but please don't tell people they're stupid. A lot of people are very intelligent people online, okay? They're not stupid people. You can say your argument's stupid, but don't tell the person because you don't know them, okay? They may be the nicest people in the world. You just don't like whatever. So the hashtag's very important. Now, here's the thing, because I've been talking for a good minute, and I don't know if this video, I don't know if this video is even recording anymore. But suffice it to say that that's a very effective tool. Okay, especially when it goes mainstream and everybody's saying it. Okay, here's another thing I want to say that we know. I've shown you guys that AT&T and HBO Max are very interested in restoring the Snyderverse, and they may do it in the form of series. They may even do it in the form of theatrical runs and movies, and they may push Warner Brothers Pictures, the executive Toby Emmerich, again, to greenlight certain things that they want. But it's apparently they'll have to generate their own funding for it. Like, for example, I think HBO Max may end up doing distributions, but through Warner Brothers Pictures probably paying them or whatever, they get it into theaters or whatever. So they're going to work their little deal or whatever it is. But I do believe very strongly that you can see it turning up the tide. If you've been paying attention, BVS came back out. You had Man of Steel come out. You had BVS. Of course, Zack Snyder had done this redone version of BVS, extended edition, and that's out in that was out on home DVD, and that was bought out really quickly. So the toys, the merchandising is just being gulped up. People just raving us like, give me anything that has to do with Zack Snyder, right? People become very ravenous about him, and he's kind of like the rave. The thing is, though, that what I want to just put into people's minds, because today's Army of the Dead. I'm not really interested in Army of the Dead. I'm not really a zombie person, to be honest with you, and that sort of thing. I like this superhero thing because of how Zach was stressing on the qualities of the individuals, and then all the detail he goes into, the qualities of the individuals. But I'm not really into the Army of the Dead. I may actually support them just because it's Zach. So I may end up doing a rental or whatever HBO Max. If HBO Max is in the Caribbean, I subscribe to HBO Max. I'll watch it, and I may even do a review on it. Because Zach is taking certain things. He's taking, Zeus and Attila, from the Greek gods, and just kind of nods to, Justice League and to the whole DCEU. And I get that feeling throughout that the DCEU is in there. So he's kind of roping people in to watch a zombie movie because it's got the DCEU like nuggets in there. The little, shout outs to it. I forgot what the name of the word is. Anyway, so this has been a pretty long video. I don't know if I recorded everything, but I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that, let me just finish this off. So they're saying that, the Snyderverse, it could live in some way. Well, it's going to live. The Snyderverse is, again, for those people saying, and this is why it's a worthy cause, because there is an endpoint to it, restore the Snyderverse is happening, okay? I can tell you guys, there's no way in God's green earth, AT&T and HBO Max, I'm just saying, they're not going to let this go, okay? They're in it for the long haul. They did not invest $70 million into this movie to let this universe just there's just no way. No way. So no matter what, just pay attention to the fact that Jason Keeler and AT&T, okay, John Stankley, That it's their initiative why we have the Snyder Cut. It's them. They're the ones that push this thing. Okay? And they're not going to, I don't care what you guys see. It doesn't matter how much Toby Emmerich says things or tries to sabotage things. Those two guys have a vision for what they're doing with their programming. It's not just a jump start. They don't want to just jump start that thing. They know and they see as a fact that the fan base and the wider community and the movie they put out was a success. You think, come on now, no matter what anybody says, the movie that came out was a success. It was more successful. It was Zack Snyder's most successful DCEU film to date. More successful than Man of Steel. More successful than Batman v Superman. Okay? In fact, in terms of audience approval and audience love, it is the most successful DCEU film to date. To date. So, unfortunately, it didn't get a theatrical release, and that's on Warner Bros. Pictures' end. And that's stupid because, let me tell you something. You paid, let's say you did $500 million, $600 million to get this movie out, okay? It's close to $700 million, right? You did it wrong. You may not have incurred a loss. You may have just broken even, but the movie was a flop. You get a second dab at it with an eager audience that was waiting to see this movie. You, first of all, sabotage it by bringing Godzilla vs. Kong up to the point of that movie. Listen what you could have done. And again, egos. You separate everything from that movie. That is supposed to be the COVID breaking movie. This is the coming out movie coming out of COVID. You set that movie by itself. You promote the shit out of it through social media. You get it into theaters and you run that mother till it runs dry. The first 3 weeks, if that thing didn't break $1 billion and you make back all your money because it was the most anticipated movie for the last 4 years. You've got to be out of your freaking mind not to promote that movie. Man, do you know how crazy? Godzilla vs. Kong was good. It was good. And it did good numbers. That could have been Zack Snyder's Justice League blowing the roof off of the numbers. You'd have made back your money. You might have made back. I don't think it would have hit $2 billion. I don't think it would have done that. Who knows how long it would have run? Because it's a long ass movie. It would have been about 3 hours 31 minutes. You know, the 3 hours 32 minutes. The 214. It would have been 214, right? But you would have made at least 1.2 billion. 1.2, maybe 1.3 billion. It was going to make more than BVS. All right. I would never see it crossing 2 billion. That would be, but it would have made, because of COVID and all of that as well. And you know, the fact you can't fill theaters like you want to. But that thing would have done it. It would have done what it done. How do I know this? 1.5 million tweets tells me everything I need to know on social media about this movie. This movie been hyped for 4 years, man. 4 years have been hyped. You want to talk about a build-up? Conservative figures, 1.2 billion. It was definitely crossing $1 billion. It was definitely dusting out Aquaman and Joker. It will lead them in the wake. And yes, this is a repeat movie. What I mean by that is it already came out in cinemas, but Warner Bros. Is like, no, man, the one that flopped and failed, that we fucked up, that's the one. All you had to do, Warner Brothers, was say, you know what, we went in the wrong direction. But why they don't want to say that, which is stupid still, is because they feel they're moving in a totally different direction and they need to leave Zack Snyder's Justice League in the past. It's a studio that's stupid, and it just never is in touch with the fandom. It's never in touch with pop culture. Zach's in touch with pop culture. That's what Zach did. He studied history and everything to see what pop culture does, and then he came out with his stuff. I don't worship Zack Snyder, but god damn it, man. The man knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing with this stuff. Give him that. How can you not know that and understand that? I don't understand why you guys hate him, except that Jeff Johns is jealous of him. But other than that, I can't understand why you guys take on what Jeff Johns is saying. And you guys listen to Jeff Johns? What film has Jeff Johns ever done? None. So why are you even looking at that guy? Jeff Johns is butthurt that he wasn't in Man of Steel. He didn't get much to do in Man of Steel. So he started undercutting and undermining Zack Snyder's work. That's how petty it is. Come on, man. Like, really. Like, seriously. Warner Brothers, wake the fuck up. Like Zack Snyder would say, wake the fuck up. Wake up. They need to apologize to Ray Fisher and all of the cast and crew who suffered under the treatment of Joss Whedon and those executives who have been fired. Joss Whedon's no longer around. Jeff Johns is still around doing certain things. But Joss Whedon, he's no longer around. John Berg is no longer around. Jeff Johns officially is not supposed to be around, but he is around in the background. Toby Emmerich should have lost his job, and he shouldn't have been around. Okay? To be fair, Walter Amada had nothing to do with that. He's defending Jeff Johns because they think they need Jeff Johns still for their movies and stuff and for continuity. All right? But Walter Amada needs to apologize because DC Films needs to apologize to these people. And Ray Fisher's doing the right thing. That's the protocol that needs to be in Hollywood. More transparency in the workplace. Yes, you can have your secrecy about your movies and what's happening next and whatever. Let me continue. Snyder may no longer be asked to return to the DCU, but some of his characters and original plans may live on regardless. That in and of itself, it's trying to hint that Zack Snyder will not be in DCEU movies. But I truly believe he will be back to do Justice League 2 and Justice League 3. We all know those movies take about a year to 2 years to actually get everything organized and shot. Zach already got his ducks in a row. Apparently, there's storyboards for it already. And I hope he still hires Jay Oliver, because I mean, Zach already storyboarded, but nonetheless, Jay Oliver to do certain specific storyboards for specific things. Because Jay's a hella good with action. Those angles and stuff. I didn't know that Jay had so much to do with a lot of the movies and some things that happened at the end of Man of Steel. Pretty cool. That's the thing about Zach. He's a good collaborator. So is Patty Jenkins, by the way. And Patty's got a lot of energy. She's very energetic. I'm not saying that it's written in stone that Zack Snyder will return to the SnyderVerse. I am in movies and everything. I'm not saying that it's... I know the negotiations are going on, but it's very, very likely that he will return. Okay? Very, very likely. And because the infrastructure is in place for him to return. What I mean by that is he has a fan base. The fan base is organized. The fan base is pushing for what they want. And we've seen a history now with Hollywood and fan bases where they eventually will cave into the fan base. So, for example, when James Gunn was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 for something that he said way in his past, which was misconstrued, the fans came up and they rallied. And I was rallying with those fans. I said, that's unjust. That's just unjust for this dude. And guess what? Not only did he end up doing Suicide Squad at Warner Brothers, but he also has a gig at Marvel waiting for him, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is awesome. And all I'm saying is, Ray Fisher, Zack Snyder, Gina Carrozza, these guys are going to get vindicated. And they're going to be restored to their roles because the fans are not going to let it go. We're not going to let it go. This is social media time now. You're going to have to face us as fans. And we're going to tell you if your films are good or not. We're going to tell you if you're going in the right direction or not. We're going to give you that feedback. Because this is the world we live in now. It's an interactive world, especially on social media. Fans have access to actors. Fans have access to anything. Like if I really, really want to get whoever I want to get, I could probably get that person through social media. So that's what makes it so fans have better access to things. It's a different world. So this world where it would have taken 20 years to get the Donner cut and not even the proper Donner cut, or where it would have taken much longer time to see some of these effects and changes happen. Unfortunately for the lady who played, again, the comedic lady, the fans need to get organized with her situation. And you know what? Me as a person, I think I'm going to try and, get that going. The lady, Moesha, the lady who was playing in Moesha, the actress, I forgot what her name is, but I think we need to rally behind her and see some things happen because, like I said before, the fans have the power to shut shit down or to start shit up, And that actress has been left in the dark for too long. And the only way we're going to get players in Hollywood, big players, black players, like Dave Chappelle, etc., to touch her is by saying, hey, look at this actress here. She's not being treated right. You've been treated right. You've been treated right. You've been treated right. Y'all black. Rally behind her. That's what we need to do. And Oprah and what's the guy's name? Who's right now? He's starting in Black Hollywood in Atlanta. The Christian guy was homeless and stuff. I forgot what his name is. He did all these great movies, right? Him. He needs to rally behind her. You can't take everything personal. You can't take everything personal. And just because, if you really are, what I liked about Geeks and Gamers was, Geeks and Gamers guy, it seemed as though Zack Snyder took shots at him. Didn't. But, just disassociating himself with Geeks and Gamers. What I like about this dude, he's a Trump supporter. What I liked about him was this. He took his shots. He has his political views and all of that, but he took his shots and he still supported. That's how a true leader goes. Because sometimes you can't, in the big war of things, sometimes you got to take some shots and give the people the freedom to express themselves. But here's the thing. You're going to show in your actions that you're not what they claim you are. And they'll turn around not too long in the distant future, and they will turn to you and say, man, I was wrong. I need to tell everybody I was wrong about you. I was wrong about you. That's how you show your true colors. And people who love you obviously will say, how dare that person say that about you? Why you ain't answering this person? Sometimes you don't need to answer anything. You just need to show people who you really are and still throw your support behind that person who's been lambasting, because you understand That solidarity sometimes in certain situations is more important than your little minuscule differences inside of there. Whether you feel I'm compromised or whatever, it's like you sound like you compromise and and I be like, hey, listen, homie, man. Is there anybody who's perfect? And thank you for letting me know about my mistakes in the past. You're right. I was compromised back then. Cause see, I'm not afraid to say I was wrong. I'm not afraid to say I apologize. Because homie, we need you on the team. And right now, the story is this. I'm bigger than that. And we need to go forward together. But if you don't believe my words, watch what I do. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? So the actress who played Moesha, she need a shot. She need she need to get some gigs going. She needs some income based on what she do. And I hope she gets through. And whether she's full of herself or not is Listen, man, there's so many people full of themselves that are not black. Why is it? I'm not saying that it's right necessarily, but I'm just saying they give them a pass, and then they come to the black person. She's fat. She's black. So no, don't do her that. Don't do her like that. Is she a little ghetto and stuff? Don't do her like that though. She's a lovely person. She's good heart, and she may be controversial, and she may rub you the wrong way. But don't do her like that. Give her her just due, and that's all I'm saying. Is people trying to say, oh, your negotiations not good. Netflix, all these people turning it down. We know it's a network of people, and they got influences. You can signal something so that this person is dried up, no matter where they go. We understand the game, but guess what? You don't have to go to the game. Look at me. I'm not linked to Hollywood. Do I hate Hollywood? No. It's a vehicle. It does its thing. There are good stuff that come out of it. But I don't have to be linked to it. You can do your own thing as well. You don't have to depend on the system. But all I'm saying is this. I'm saying we talk about equity. We talk about fair treatment. And then we go and we defend people who are not doing that. And I'm talking about currently doing it. Not just they did it in the past and they stopped doing it. No, they're still currently doing it. You can't defend that. You're ready to go in on James Gunn for some stuff he said in the past, but you're not ready to hold a studio accountable because it's a studio. It's a studio, man. They're big people. What was that supposed to mean? So are you saying that one set of rules goes for one set of people, but because these people have a certain status, those rules don't apply to them? That's the bullshit that I don't like. When it comes to the lowly actor, because that's what they call them, because in the business, the studios hire and fire actors, right? So they're the lowly actor. They're the pawn, right? You can treat them anyhow. But when it comes to the people, the execs and the people who run the companies, oh, no. No, we have to be careful how because they're the gods. They're the ones that hold the gate. Get the fuck out of here, man. If you are doing shit, what are you doing there? And the other person who is giving their all and ask for compensation for that, why is it that they must be displaced? That don't make no sense. And the only reason it doesn't make sense because it's not right, it's not just, it's not fair. Let's get back to Ray Fisher. Reportedly, Cyborg was initially supposed to have a major role in The Flash, so his absence could alter whatever plans DC originally had for the movie. Again, this is an acknowledgement of the truth. This is the problem. And that's what makes the Flash movie screwed up. Because Cyborg was always an integral piece in that Flash movie. So they're trying to fill the void with Michael Keaton and all these big names. No, your movie's got a big old freaking hole in it because Ray Fisher threw a wrench in your whole scheme. Ray's a pivotal piece in The Flash, and everybody knows it. That's why Ray's talking like that, because he knows he got them leveraging power. He knows that. And Walter Hamada is saying, no, I'm the exec here. You're the lowly little actor. You're the pawn. Jeff Johns said, man, we could replace Cyborg for you. We could get another actor for you. No, they can't. And they know that. And they're bluffing. And this writer just acknowledged that. Nevertheless, this is still an ongoing story, so look out for more news on the situation. And there, the last appeal is, come back and watch, and come back here and tune in for more, because I want more hits. Okay? So that's what that's all about. So all I'm saying to you guys is this. These disingenuous pieces are studio pieces. This is Warner Brothers encouraging writers to write these kinds of hit pieces to persuade the public opinion to believe that things are as bleak as they could be